everybody, and welcome back to the I Don't Know Running podcast, where we share our experiences that make running fun and sometimes not so fun. I'm Lewis. I'm a self-admitted lazy ultra runner.
And I'm Mitch. I am trying the first week of trying to eat right.
Oh, that sounds awful.
It sucks. No, it's not
sounds
that bad.
Terrible.
I just got to do something.
I don't know that I have ever started that.
I know.
There was a time when some people I worked with, they were really pushing the not vegetarian, but just like them what meat is doing to your body, things like that, and how people are really excelling by not eating meat and just focusing on specific vegetables or fruits. Like the Fruitarian, he's a popular runner who's very, very good from New York. He's actually ran...
What are you talking about? No, I was thinking Scott Jurek.
No, this is, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Andy something maybe. From New York. He's some business guy, but he has specifically focused on fruit. But not just fruits and vegetables.
But fruit is very broad because there are certain things that are, you would think are a vegetable that are actually a fruit. I don't have any good examples, but.
I don't want to say because I'll sound really dumb, but I do that on my own enough.
Or more so.
Yeah. But he's done really, really well. Like he has, I think he has won the Hawaii 100. What's that?
Hurt?
The Hurt 100. Gosh, it's right there. It's so close. His name. Anyway,
I threw you off.
Yeah, you threw me off of this whole eating healthy thing.
Right.
I don't know what that is.
And I'm going more protein. So I'm doing the opposite of,
Yeah,
plant-based.
and I don't think I'm not saying that any one specific thing is right, other than limiting processed sugars like
that's the
chocolate
big thing,
and things like that. Matter of fact, my intro last week was going to be I am so sad because the Reese's peanut butter cup Christmas trees are done.
You should have bought them out.
We did. I bought like 4 bags from Meijer the day after.
30 bags.
I know. I probably should have, although I'm happy I didn't. We are going through getting rid of all that holiday candy and stuff like that.
So you're going to healthy eating?
I wouldn't say that. I'm going back to normal, not holiday candy eating. But I wouldn't say it's exactly healthy. My wife does a good job. Nicole does a really good job of focusing on healthy eating.
Here's the other thought. We've talked about this at the end of the year, and we're trying to get it all out. But how's the new year going so far, trying to be nice?
Me or her? I didn't say I was going to be nice. She did. She's doing good. And she's never mean per se, but it's just a focus she wants to work. And I think it's great. I did not do anything New Year's wise this year.
Start running?
I should have tried to start running, but
not too late.
That's too late. It's already second week of the year.
Make that a middle of the month resolution.
Yeah, no, I actually, I've been thinking about it lately because I'm like, man, I really do enjoy this time of running. Footing sucks, but man, there is just something so peaceful about running and falling.
True.
Snow. Took the dog for a walk this morning in the snow. I'm glad I was walking, and I thought, well, I'll throw on trail shoes and it'll be good. Man, I almost went down 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
The lady in front of me, she was a little ways in front of me. I'm like, all right, we'll just stay back from her. Went down. She went down. She turned around and went back home.
Need to carry a camera.
I know. Speaking of, we have a new camera in studio. Mitch is going to be
when I get healthy,
experimenting with some new things. In the process of getting healthy, you're going to be using this.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to use it very specifically at Terrence's place.
Yeah.
We'll try to record different things in there. We've been talking about wanting to do this for a while, and I finally pulled the trigger and
we have a new camera. If you can probably see it. Yeah, in the wide shot, it just went off. Oh no, the front camera just went off. Okay,
it's still going.
So yeah, Mitch, you're going to be using this essentially to document some things at Terrence's at PT Sports Pro, some stuff that they do, and we will be experimenting with this at races.
Yeah.
Showing the runner's perspective maybe, or if I'm on the sidelines, I'll show the sideline perspective maybe of the runner showing to the runner. But anyway, showing the experience at a race versus just talking about a race. Right. So yeah, there's that. And on the front end, again, this year, if you like what you hear, go ahead, hit subscribe, like, share, do all of that. Share with somebody who likes to run or maybe doesn't like to run and you want to get them into running.
Everybody should run.
This is the podcast to get them into running, 100%, because we don't know what we're talking about. So they'll feel right at home.
You don't have to know much.
You don't. And speaking of which, Andy, who likes to call us out from the UK, actually enjoyed the last episode. I just want to read his comment. It says, as requested, here is the comment from the guy in the UK. Nice to get a mention again. And now he's going to get a mention again. Again. This time you did know running. Well done on all the advice. I can comment on this as I used to be a beginner runner. It's not verbatim, but that's what he's saying. And you guys covered it. So yeah, Andy, great to see the comments. And another comment, which was really cool. A new, I think he's a newer listener. He found us. I don't remember what he said, but Chad MSU, I'm guessing that's Michigan State. Could be Mississippi State, but I doubt it. Missouri State, Maine. No, probably probably Michigan State. Careful with that one. Commented on the YouTube channel. And what was really neat about this is he said, good advice. I would tell anybody starting out running to slow down. And that's a good point. How many times have we said that? We're running, especially our slow pace, and we're going way too fast.
Oh, yeah.
Not able to hold a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Because we're breathing too hard, which means you're going too fast. Which that's a really good point. But he said he is running Charlevoix, his first. I think I said it's his first, right?
I know I read the comment.
Pretty sure he said it's his first. Running very difficult. Yeah. I discovered your podcast searching for information about Charlevoix Marathon and planning to run it 25. My first marathon. Yeah.
Got it.
I had to hit the little 3 dots to pull down the rest of it.
And there's more. Those dots.
Yes. And there's more dots.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So today's episode, today's question is, should you run a marathon?
Yeah. And the answer is yes.
Yeah. And a resounding yes.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want.
Yes, you should. I know that we talked about last week about, getting out and starting running for beginners. We're not saying this is like you need to start the week after, but
yes, absolutely. Yeah. If you have an interest in running and you've started 100%, make it fun, like what we said last week, and look to the future. And if you're considering a marathon, 100%, heck yes, start your journey. And we are going to, on this episode, give you 5 tips. We're gonna throw out 5 tips. We're only going to discuss a couple.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we could go forever.
And Charlevoix is a great race, and there's plenty of time to train for that race.
Yeah, July.
It's like the 30, second or third. It's early, but it's second or third week in July.
Oh, that's right, because it corresponds with Western sometimes.
Yes,
or within like a week.
It could be the week before or the day of Western. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, these are marathon training tips for beginners, and these are high level 5 tips. I'm just gonna quickly go over the 5 tips, and then we're gonna kind of dig in on some of these. Number 1, these are the 5 tips. Conquering the marathon, your beginner's guide. We're going to talk about that. Getting started, setting realistic goals. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Fueling for your journey, nutrition for marathon training. We are going to jump into that a little bit later because that's a huge subject. Yeah. Mastering the miles, effective training strategies. Again, we're going to talk about that in a future episode.
Yeah, I was going to say there is definitely a lot to it. Simply put, I mean, there's ways to simplify it, but it's a big subject.
Yeah,
it
huge.
really is.
And then finally, the fifth tip is race day readiness, preparing for the big event. And again, that is one we've actually talked about that, and we'll dive into that one as well a little bit later on another episode.
For beginners, that's an easy one to look at, though. Like you don't need that, you know. It doesn't have to be difficult.
It doesn't have to be difficult. We will simplify it as much as possible, especially for the beginner, but there is a lot to it to make sure that you can go and just relax and have it, enjoy the time.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is prep for, 16 weeks and be stressed on race day. Like we want you to be able to go and have all the things in place, because if you go to Google and just search marathon race day checklist, there's a long checklist and a lot of things you might not think about. So we'll discuss more of that in the future, but today we're going to talk about a couple. Number one, just conquering the marathon, your beginner's guide. The first subject is, or the first item on that list is, marathon is a challenging but rewarding experience. Yeah.
That's
a given.
Yeah,
it is. But to the point that they're saying is, if you go into it thinking, having been there and done it, having trained for it and raced it, crossing the finish line is an amazing, rewarding experience.
I mean, outside of all the training and all the things that you have to do, I mean,
all the tough stuff,
you're gonna find a training plan. You're gonna follow that plan the best you can. And again, the training plan is one thing that we'll have to get into as
we get into more episodes.
Yeah, that into more detail as far as that goes, because there's a million training plans out there.
But you will not be disappointed when you cross the finish line.
You will not. And even the training can be so much fun. If you join groups, we've talked about this last week even. I mean, that's the race itself is the fun part. Saying you put that in there, that's the dessert, really.
Yeah. And going through all the training is going to get you to a place where when you do hit that mile 18 to 20 to 22, hopefully you've put in the training that will get you over that hump, because that is the big hump to get over.
It's hard to say, like, somebody's not going to say, like, you lied to me. I hit mile 20 and it sucked. Well,
it's going to. 100%. But you've built up mentally through training, through miles, through logging, all the tough stuff.
But that's what makes the finish line even better, is that tough stuff that you hit within the race.
Yeah. And we've talked about this quite a few times. Everybody gets to that mile 18, 20, 22. And I honestly, so I've done, 60-ish marathons or longer, something like that. I don't know, probably maybe 70 now. Nowhere near what you have. However, that's quite a few. And I can say easily on one hand, the number of times I've gotten to that point in a race and not just went, man, this sucks. It does. Doesn't matter the speed I'm going.
I have. Yeah, right. Like there's been
pacing or fast as I can go.
There's a handful of times where I've hit that spot and I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
That's it. And you've done 200. How many have you done?
178.
178?
What it is. Yeah.
And you're at a handful.
Yeah.
And so we say that to say, yes, it's going to be hard.
But that's Rudy's favorite spot, is sitting at the finish line. And it's people that are later in the pack and
have gutted it out.
The looks on their faces. And then he always makes, I didn't think I could, but I did.
Yeah.
And it's those people that come across because they went through those hard spots.
Yeah.
And there they are crossing the finish line. It's not the front runners that, well, it's just as hard for them, without a doubt.
Yeah. And I would say it's more like, so take somebody that could normally run it, let's say at 2:30, but they finish at like 3:15. That's still towards the front runner.
Yeah.
But for them, they just ran 45 minutes slower and they crossed finish line. And that is super rewarding still.
It still is.
Now, yeah, you're bummed. You're super upset at your time, whatever, but you still got it done.
Yeah.
And that is super rewarding. So yeah, there is that rewarding experience feeling crossing the finish line. I think go on. It's a monumental feat to achieve. 100% it is. Not a very big percentage of people run a marathon. I know it's growing because it's becoming the new 10K or something like that. And the 100 is now the new what used to be the marathon.
That's hard to say. I know the 200's a new 100 for sure.
Yeah.
But nuts.
So, it is a monumental feat, and you can take that to the grave. It's huge. Well done if you do that. Running marathon is achievable with the right preparation. 100%. Couldn't agree more with that. I would say it's achievable even, the more you prepare yourself, the more the more the experience is going to be like enjoyable throughout. If you don't, man, it can suck at mile 8, and then you've got to grind for 18 more miles.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that.
Recently.
Yeah. It sucked. I think I was still angry at the finish line at that point.
I believe it. Were you angry at yourself, though, or at the injury that caused it?
Everything. Like, you're just not in a good, it's like, there's still that feeling like you cross the finish line, like, finally, I actually did it, because I really had doubts, especially during injury, or, and you're hobbled up and you can hardly move, and then you still finish. There's still a good feeling, but it's like, man, it shouldn't have been like that.
Yeah, the feeling of being done is always good. It's always how you feel when you don't have to continue is a pretty good feeling.
I've got so many pictures, of finish line pictures, or after party pictures where everybody's got their medal on and we're taking pictures, and you're biting on the medal, or and then that's something too, is when you can do it with friends too. You don't have to run together, but
enjoying the post race stuff with friends that have also accomplished it, whether that's their first one or 100th, it is still an amazing time with friends. Next, setting realistic goals. Start with a proper assessment of your current fitness level. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go out there, run a 5K or whatever, wherever you're at. It could be a mile. I would recommend getting up to that 5K. That'll allow you, usually, most training plans are going to ask you, what is your 5K fitness level? You go out there and you run your fastest 5K. Could be in a race, or it could just be go out and just hammer down a 5K. And then from there, they're going to say, all right, to be done or prepared in 16, 20 weeks, something like that, here's your plan. And it's going to base it off from that 5K.
Yeah. And 5K or 10K, there's calculators out there that do that. Yep. And then what I think is
or half marathon, wherever level you're at, you can plug these in usually and get a training plan out.
What I've always done is it's been my long run that tells me if I have if I am not going to run, you might get 30 seconds a mile faster than your long run, depending on what your effort you put in.
Well, that's race time. This is race train. This is setting up your race training schedule.
Okay.
So find your current fitness level, plug it into these. It's going to lay out the next 16, 20 weeks for you.
Yeah.
Remember that we're talking about the getting started side of this.
Yeah. I'm always like
there
jumping into the race.
Yeah. We got to get to that in a few weeks, couple weeks. Set a training schedule that fits your lifestyle. This is big. And we've talked about this too. If you can only run 3 times a week, number one, I'll say this, depending on the person, you can still do it. It's not a lot. Like that's the bare minimum.
It really is. And here, I had this conversation with somebody earlier today too, is you can't run 2 3-milers and then run a 20-miler either. The bulk of your miles can't be your long run. So you want to make those runs count when you can run 3 days a week.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. If you're at 3, and I did this the first time I ran a marathon, I was training 3 days a week. It was Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. That was it. That's all I could do.
I remember Brad Prime telling me one time he was only running one day a week. He's like, I get my speed work, my long run, and whatever else, and all in one day.
That is
because he was so busy with work. But he
was also cycling and swimming.
I don't think he was that. Wait, this is years ago.
Oh, okay.
We're doing trail runs. He was doing a 20-miler on Saturday only because that's all he had time for.
And he was getting all 3 in. Yeah, 3, I would say 3 is the bare minimum. It's possible, but if you could do 4 or 5, way, way better. And be realistic about that when you're plugging it into these generators.
And when you're talking about for beginners, like a lot of times they'll have you doing speed work during the week. If you're just trying to finish your first race, you don't have to get all technical with that stuff. Like, just make sure you get your runs in.
Well, that speaks to be realistic about the training plan you're looking up too, right? Because a lot of them will say, "Are you trying to finish? Are you trying to compete? Are you trying to improve? Right. What are you advanced level? If you just want to finish, just start with that.
Yeah,
I'm a beginner. I want to finish a marathon."
Still a beginner, could be your second marathon. I want to beat that last time.
Yeah.
Set up your training plan based on beating that last time.
Exactly. And gradually, so this is again, setting realistic goals, gradually increase your running mileage to avoid injuries. 100%. And every training plan is going to tell you to do this. However, it's really easy to get somewhere in that training plan and feel good, quote unquote, just like you do at mile 3 or 4 of the marathon. But I felt good. Yeah. So I took off. That never works. Follow the plan. You know what you can do.
Yeah. To go from, say you do the couch to 5K and then you do 5K to 20 miles, it's not going to end.
You're going to get hurt.
And knowing the difference as you progress and do all that stuff, I think that we've talked about this, it's going to hurt. Knowing the difference between uncomfortable and an actual injury.
Yeah.
Or what could turn into an injury. Because it could be something pinching that's probably okay with a couple days rest, but if you run on it, you're going to cause an injury.
Yeah, and I would recommend, if you are new to running in general, and this is your first training plan, you're building up miles, and you're at like whatever 8 to 10, it's your first time you've ran that long, and you do get something like that, speak to somebody, like a PT Sports Pro. Like Terrence says, just talk to somebody. Get some advice. Talk to an experienced runner. They might say, that's normal. I would be really careful still. Take some time off. Resting isn't going to kill your training plan.
No.
You can't rest for 8 weeks, but if you got to skip a run, skip a run. Don't do it every week. Don't do it all the time. But if there's something nagging or something like that, don't injure yourself. So you're, number one, missing the race, out for 6 months instead of a week, something like that.
Or to where it's just not fun. Like, I'm always getting hurt. Well, yeah, you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. So increase your running mileage gradually. And every training plan is going to tell you that, but listen to it. Don't get excited and it says to do 8 and you're like, well, I felt like going 12. No.
So many people that have done that.
No, go the 8. Once you've advanced and you've ran several marathons and you want to tweak stuff, go ahead. But again, we're talking to, you're going to begin your running journey like last week and you've done the 5K, you've done the 10K, whatever, and you want to jump up, do a marathon, follow the plans.
Make sure that you give yourself enough time before the race and don't procrastinate. Actually start the plan when it says.
Yeah.
And the other part too, they're not typically couched to marathon. It means that you have some fitness level. So it's not like you're going to, I haven't run in 2 months. Now I'm going to start this marathon plan.
Yeah, they usually want you running, 3 to 4 miles on the bare minimum. Again,
on a regular basis.
You might have ran 8, and that's great too if you're starting there. But it doesn't take you long to get into shape for the start of a marathon training plan. However, it is a long training plan.
They're typically 18 to 20 weeks.
Yeah, that's why I say 16 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
And then you're going to want to, if you're not running at all, you want a month to get to that 5K distance at least.
Yeah. Yep.
Where you start.
So that's the first couple of tips on our top 5. And we will get to the others and then in some coming episodes. Nothing, we don't have it set to like next episode is going to be the next tip or anything like that. But we are going to share that over the course of this winter for us running time.
And I'll probably jump to the end again.
Yeah. Next episode, Mitch will talk about how to get that race time where you want it.
Yeah.
But we'll rein him back in and remind him what tips we're talking about.
Oh, I want to do a race.
We'll get there. We'll get you there next year.
Uh-huh.
Once you know what you're doing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you follow these and a training plan along with a listener or something like that.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
They could, if they're going already, what's the difference if, I go along and they pay for my race and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Not a big
Charlevoix's coming up. Maybe you can run with Chad.
I'm going to be up there, but I think that we get there on that Saturday of the race.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet. I want to figure out if I want to do that. I think they just sent out an email about pacing and stuff like that. So I got to decide if I want to.
I'll have to go up another day early. So
I was getting excited about the Mummy again, though. I was like, man, I kind of want to do that one again. Man, it's just a fun race.
Well, you know what? For this guy running Charlevoix, that's good training for the Mummy.
Yeah. When is the Mummy? It's 2 weeks after the 4th.
Yeah, it's in July.
Because I did the 4th of July one with you, right?
Yeah, end of July or August.
Well, it's got to be because I did the 4th with you.
Then you did the Mummy.
And I did the Mummy 2 weeks later. You were gone.
We didn't.
It's when you were out west.
Yeah, because you talked about it, but we didn't talk about it together. And that's a great race, isn't it?
Oh man, it was a blast. Hard. Oh. I mean, that is the hardest marathon I've ever done.
That's what I was telling you.
Easily.
Remember years ago, we were arguing between that and Marquette. You said Marquette is way harder. And it is. But they're not the same.
As an ultra.
Yeah.
But as a marathon distance, I don't think Marquette's harder.
Yeah, if it was just a marathon within that.
Well, don't they have a marathon at Marquette?
They have a 50K.
Is that the shortest?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we had this conversation.
I think the 50K is easier. At Marquette.
But when I ran the 50 miler at Marquette, I was like, you might be right. Like that sucked.
Well,
so they're both hard.
It is a different race. That 50 going back out for that second backwards loop on the 50 mile.
Oh my gosh.
Sucks. Yeah. And you know what you have coming backwards.
So this is a progression. Charlevoix, Mummy,
Marquette.
50.
That's your summer. That's whoever wants to tackle that next summer or this summer. I guess it's 2025. Good on you. That is and then you can do like you did the one year you run Marquette and then turn around and try to do Woodstock 100 mile.
And that did not go well.
No, you did 100K though, right?
Yeah, I got a 50. I got 100K down.
Sounds like a busy summer. But that's our tips this week. We are going to share some more tips coming up. But that is going to wrap up this episode of the I Don't Know Running podcast. Be sure to tune in next time as we share more about what we just don't know.
Until then, happy running.